Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Fantasy Football Strategist. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the wild contractual requests in which Caleb Williams made of the Chicago Bears, as well as what ended up being finalized in his deal with the Chicago Bears. Please remember to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. In an article written by Ryan Taylor of NBC Sports Chicago, Caleb Williams' team made oddball, out-of-the-box requests for his rookie contract. The article states, after multiple reports revealed Tuesday evening that Bears rookie Caleb Williams had signed his first NFL contract, PFT's Mike Florio put the kibosh on those reports, revealing he had not signed his deal. Why? Florio reported on Wednesday that Williams' team was haggling with the Bears over final language for his first contract. Part of that negotiation, per Florio, included an attempt to keep the franchise tag off of Williams' contract after he presumably finishes his fifth NFL season with the team. The Bears declined. So, he is looking for control of his own future, obviously, and was attempting to make it so that after 5 years he is guaranteed to be able to leave the Bears. Obviously, the Bears would like much more control than that, even if it's just 1 year. And so they were absolutely not going to bend to his will on that one. So when we think about it, this really is new for an NFL player, at least for a rookie contract. I think about it like this, though. Wouldn't you want to have more control over your future? I mean, he's in a good situation, or at least what projects to be a good situation. But if you were signing a contract, wouldn't you like a little bit more control over your future? I personally don't see any problem with this. The article continues, but it didn't end there. After the Bears announced Williams signed his deal, Florio revealed Williams' camp made other attempts to help the rookie signal caller earn untaxed money. According to Florio, Williams' camp attempted to convince the Bears to pay Williams as an LLC, which is a limited liability company. In Illinois, LLCs have zero income tax filing requirements, meaning Williams wouldn't have to pay taxes on his 4-year contract worth $39 million. So what we can gather from this is he's really smart, and he's trying to make as much money as he possibly can. Wouldn't you want to do that? And that, it really is quite creative. I've never heard of anything like this before, where someone is trying to be paid as an LLC. But in all seriousness, though, it is quite creative. And I understand that some people are going to say, oh, how ridiculous is this? He's a diva, this and that. He's just looking to obtain as much money as humanly possible. So, really, I see no fault in doing this. It's not like he's holding out or anything. He's just trying to earn as much money as he possibly can. The article continues, another attempt Williams' camp made was earning a forgivable loan, which would have resulted in Williams getting the money tax-free until the loan was forgiven, as many as 10 years into the future, Florio reported. Another remarkably intelligent way to try to get as much money as he can. I mean, inflation is a real thing, and while, yes, essentially anyone with any of these contracts is set for life unless you are ludicrously spending your money, and people aren't going to like this, and people are going to make big deals out of this, but once again, you didn't hear about this, really. So it's not like he was projecting this out into the world to try to force them to bend to his will. He was just trying to earn more money. Really, this is a non-issue. It continues, the Bears, according to Florio, went to the NFL with both of these proposals, finding no evidence they were invalid in the NFL CBA, which is the collective bargaining agreement. But the league nixed both of these proposals. So it's all about control here. And the NFL is trying to make sure that they have as much control over the players as they possibly can. Just like a company would like to have control over their employees. This is a business, remember. We all love the game, but it's a business, and that comes first. They probably just don't want to have to deal with this in the future, which is why they nixed both of these proposals. Because if Caleb Williams did it, essentially every other player is going to try to do this too, because why wouldn't you? Especially if you could earn a lot more untaxed money. I'm not exactly sure what the implications would be for the NFL if this was a commonplace thing, but there's most likely serious ramifications if the NFL allowed this to happen. The article further states the NFL told the Bears players' money can't go to a business entity other than the player, per the report. There was no reason given for why the league axed the idea of a forgivable loan. The clauses Williams' team pitched could have been historic. No rookie player has ever notched a clause in their first-year deal to exclude the prospect of a franchise tag from the future. And no player has ever been paid in the form of an LLC or through a loan. The ideas were creative and out of the box. It's no harm or foul for Williams' team to try either. Williams is a known businessman who tries to surround himself with the best business minds available. His father, Carl, worked for years in commercial real estate too. So, as I've been saying, it's all about business. He didn't make a big giant deal out of it. All these reports that we always hear about him and his demands and all of that, he's not going out and saying these things himself. There's just reports that are coming out. He's just bargaining. I mean, people are going to make this out for way more than it really is. He's just trying to earn more money. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. The article continues, there could have been consequences had Williams not signed before the Bears training camp's first practice unfolding this Saturday. If he hadn't signed before then, he wouldn't have been eligible to participate. But the Bears got it done without guaranteeing Williams something that could have earned them risk from the deal. So once again, before it really mattered, Williams just signed the fully guaranteed contract, which is a fine contract, and he's well aware that it's a fine contract. He's just, once again, trying to get more money. So, once again, he didn't make a big deal out of it. It's actually incredibly impressive that he and his team thought to do that. And even though it didn't work out, he didn't let it affect his play. He's not going to be holding out, and there's no harm in trying to ask for this in his deal. So once again, really not a big deal. So, per Spotrac, Caleb Williams, who once again was picked first overall by the Chicago Bears, signed a 4-year, $39.4 million contract. Now, this is fully guaranteed, so he will be receiving every bit of that $39.4 million. Also, $25.5 million is a signing bonus, so he'll get that right away. And in 2028, the Bears do have a 5th-year option, and then they can franchise him after that. So essentially, as long as he's not terrible, which I don't foresee in any way, shape, or form, he will be there for 6 years. And they'll try to take care of that contract, most likely before his 5th-year option, so that they can, first of all, keep him long-term. Then second of all, pay him as little as they possibly can, because contracts are ever increasing. Looking at Caleb Williams' profile, he's 6'1", 214, 22.5 years old, and picked first overall once again by the Chicago Bears. So he is a little bit short for a quarterback, but he's not so short that he's going to have problems seeing over his offensive linemen. And he's not tiny either, he's built, so he has the body to withstand hits in the NFL. But he also has the athleticism to be dynamic inside the pocket, outside the pocket, during scramble drills, and on designed runs. Take a look at his high school metrics here. Once again, this was in high school. He had a 4.56 40-yard dash. That is 94th percentile among quarterbacks. And once again, that was in high school. That gives him a 97.1 speed score, which is in the 99th percentile among quarterbacks. So he's very more than likely just a little bit faster than that. And we already know that he's 6'1", 214. That is his actual NFL size. So that just really shows you how incredible of an athlete he really is. Now that we've looked at his profile and his athletic testing, let's take a look at his college production. It's important to remember that as a freshman, he chose to go to the team that already had the #1 projected player in the 2024 NFL Draft. And what did he do? The second he was able to start, he claimed the role and never gave it back. That is impressive. He had over 1,900 yards, 21 touchdowns, and only 4 interceptions in his first collegiate season. He also added 438 rushing yards. And remember, sacks take away from this total. It was actually higher than that. In his second collegiate season, he won the Heisman Trophy. He had over 4,500 yards, 42 touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. That is otherworldly production. He also had 382 rushing yards that year, which once again is actually higher than that. It's just that sacks take away from this total. Absolutely impressive sophomore season, and he balled out. Looking at his junior season, he did regress a little bit, but it was really more so due to the lack of talent around him than his play per se. They had one of the worst defenses in the entire NCAA. They lost Jordan Addison to the NFL Draft. Really, Taj Washington was his best player, at least in terms of receiver. They had Marshawn Lloyd, who's a good running back, but really terrible situation. He had to play hero ball every single game. He had over 3,600 yards, 30 touchdowns, and again, only 5 interceptions. So a down year from Caleb Williams is still incredibly impressive. Looking at Caleb Williams' situation, it's awesome. It's the best situation I've ever seen a rookie #1 overall pick ever go into. Seriously. So obviously he's the starting quarterback. The Bears announced that essentially right after they drafted him, to nobody's surprise. They did sign DeAndre Swift, the running back, to a 3-year deal that's really more of a 1 to 2 year deal. He's a solid pass catcher, a decent runner. It's really going to help him out. Then they have incumbent star wide receiver DJ Moore. He is going to be their Z receiver in this offense to get free releases off the line of scrimmage, and he is a vertical threat. Then they traded a 4th-round pick for star wide receiver Keenan Allen, formerly of the Los Angeles Chargers. He is going to be a slot receiver for them, and he is a menace. He has some of the best route running in the entire NFL. He is getting up there in age, and it's only a 1-year deal, but at least for Williams' rookie year, it's really going to help him out, having a dependable short area target. Then they drafted big, dominant ex-vertical wide receiver Rome Odunze out of Washington, 9th overall. He's going to be their ex-wide receiver for the most part, but he and DJ Moore have absolute positional versatility. Keenan Allen is really not going to play X ever. He's going to be usually Y in the slot, but he can play some Z as well. You don't want him facing man press coverage, really. But what a star-studded cast of wide receivers. And their tight end room is no joke either. They have Cole Kmet, who is a solid tight end, and they actually signed Gerald Everett to be the backup. Both are fine and really just adequate pass catchers, and if they're the worst part of this receiving core, that's pretty impressive. Then when we look at their offensive line, they have Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright in terms of their offensive tackles. That is a fine pairing of offensive tackles that, for the most part, should really help keep Caleb Williams upright. Overall, this is really an impressive cast, and he is absolutely set up for success right now and in the future. Alright, so let's talk about where Caleb Williams is going in both redraft and dynasty leagues. So in Dynasty, he's going off the board as the QB7. I think that's absolutely fair. You're going to have players such as Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow ahead of him. I'd probably rather have Caleb Williams than Joe Burrow, at least. For the most part, this is because Joe Burrow just seems to get injured quite often, and there's serious injuries. Lamar Jackson just provides otherworldly upside, so I would probably rather have Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts, same story. CJ Stroud, I would much rather have Caleb Williams than CJ Stroud. It baffles me that CJ Stroud is the third overall pick in Dynasty startups. Let me tell you this now. CJ Stroud is never, and I repeat, never going to be an elite QB1. He would have to have Patrick Mahomes level passing numbers from either 2018 or 2022 to sustain this ADP. He's a fantastic quarterback and a fine quarterback to own, a good one in fact. That's way too high. Then Josh Allen, he's been the QB1 3 of the past 4 years. I see no issue with him going second. He probably should go first, but I could understand. Patrick Mahomes is in first place, and that's going to be because he got weapons upgrades in the passing game, such as Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown. Really nothing to argue about there. In redraft, Caleb Williams is going as the QB11 off the board. In Dynasty, he's going a little bit higher than this because obviously he's a rookie, so he's going to have a lot more longevity, but we don't care about that in redraft leagues. He's going behind the likes of Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, and Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott and Jordan Love were top 5 quarterbacks this past year. Kyler Murray, if he had played a full season, would have been the QB6. Really nothing to complain about there. Caleb Williams, though, make no mistake, he does have the theoretical upside to be the QB1 overall. He has a very safe rushing floor and an insane ceiling. This guy has otherworldly arm talent. He has fantastic maneuverability in the pocket and pocket awareness. He has the pocket awareness of Aaron Rodgers. It's ludicrous. He also combines that with the playmaking ability outside of the pocket that Patrick Mahomes possesses. It is a lethal combination. Draft Caleb Williams as the QB7 overall in Dynasty and reap the rewards. He's going to go higher in startups this next year. In redraft, draft him at the QB11. It's rare to get a QB at QB11 that has first overall quarterback 1 upside outside the top 10. So you know what I think about Caleb Williams and his requests in his contract, as well as what I think of him as a player and where he's going in both Dynasty and redraft. What do you think? Do you think he's a diva? Do you think it's ridiculous to ask for these things? Do you like him as a player? Do you think he's going to be a stud? Do you think he's going to fail? And do you think he's going appropriately in both redraft and Dynasty? Please let me know in the comment section. And with that being said, I'm the Fantasy Football Strategist, your NFL breaking news source and the Dynasty and redraft implications behind said breaking news. Please remember that I am building a library of information with which you can use to dominate your redraft and Dynasty leagues in 2024 and beyond. Please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you and have a good day.